We are so glad that you're joining us. Chasing Foxfires, our home game of Dungeons and Dragons. Before we begin, quick shout out to Syrinscape. They've been with us most of the time. Definitely check them out at sirenscape.com. Most of the time. Well, yeah. The last time, man!
Yeah.
I just like the idea that there was one session.
There was one session, we never used them.
Oh dear.
So, previously. Seoul was invaded by Shasita and the following of changelings. She managed to take the Book of Chaos from the monastery and travelled across the plains, leaving behind a tuning fork. Before jumping after her, you took a long rest, which was disturbed for some of you by a strange and uncomfortable underbelly feeling. And waking up from your resting spot in the crater in the heart of Thule, you looked up at the night sky to find that a new star had appeared there. You rested, you said your goodbyes, and you travelled from within the hallowed ground to the plane of chaos. But rather than arriving in it, you find yourself arriving on this kind of membranous barrier around the plane. You find Shasita trying to tear a hole in it with some unknown weapon. She was surrounded by some form of barrier or shield that sprung up immediately at your arrival. And out of the plane of chaos itself leaked a starry, malformed dragon that defended her and quite successfully distracted all of you for some time. Reaver managed to travel through this barrier ethereally and let Shasita experience whatever would happen after she passed. But rather than taking a millennium, she experienced it in the span of 6 seconds. You managed to deal with her, and you managed to stop this rod that she was using from falling into Chaos's hands. The dragon, however, almost got the better of you a few times, with some of you going down repeatedly and Finn almost being unable to heal as he was being swallowed by the dragon.
Yum.
Denarian losing consciousness close enough to deter in the barrier that his very soul was at risk. But nevertheless, you succeeded. And in the brief space of time that you had, you avoided Lyra stealing this rod from you. She is now in Reaver's possession. But swiftly, new enemies appeared, and you realized that you had to find a way to leave. Coming together, you decided to take the risk and use teleports, and technically you're not in any specific plane, and anywhere really would be better than where you are right now.
It's true.
And in the last moment, when you are about to make that jump, Generian, overcome with a sudden disheartening feeling of loss and senselessness, of losing the reason to really continue to fight, tried to just pull his hand away from the teleport. But being used to it, and remembering an oath that Reaver made long ago, that Denarian needs to be protected at all costs, with a difference of a fucking 1 on the dice, you managed to keep him with you, and then the spell went off. Destination, hopefully, material plane. Sam, can I have a D100 roll from you?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I thought...
Oh dear.
Now...
Guidance.
I still have 1 inspiration left. I was saving it for cutting words.
I think it was my one.
No, I have 1 of my own. Could I use a peerless skill on this?
Normally I would say no, but considering the exceptional circumstance, I'll let you use it.
I thank you for your generosity.
Not the moon. Not the moon.
It's always an expression when I say pow, straight to the moon.
80-11. 91.
91. Okay.
I rolled an 80 on the D percentile, and then 11 on the peerless skill.
That's either really good or really bad.
Yeah, there's no in between there.
It's like how the French do numbers.
Yes.
As you all come together, holding hands.
I feel like I might have just passed the threshold there.
Greki with you.
Yes.
Your last will's written and tucked away in his collar.
I forgot about that.
Why would you draw attention to that?
You feel a lurch. And it feels different than it normally does. All of you feel this kind of stickiness to your skin that tries to pull you back, like clammy fingertips on your face and your arms.
Great.
Oh no.
And then your stomach comes up and settles.
Do I have a stomach?
And you feel like you are floating.
Oh, that's a bad sign.
You've not yet finished teleporting.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
Loading screen.
Shit.
That's how far we're traveling.
You are stuck in that feeling of missing a step while you're walking down the stairs. And you have no idea how long it's taking you. Until all of you suddenly feel almost falling forward
Missed a
moment. And you're there. All of you are holding hands. And you look around you. It's dark still.
Oh dear.
You are weightless,
Oh, that's bad.
floating. You look below you and you see far off in the distance. It looks like a plain with water, a lot of water, but also land.
Ooh.
Bits of green.
Ooh.
Okay.
How far away?
Deserts
Like, are we talking
outstretched.
like this, or like this, or like?
It's big, but not within like dimension or distance. More.
I still feel like we're plane shifting in the morning, but like,
Are we talking large flat area?
what do planes
Or
look
are
like
we
from the
looking at
outside?
like a big squibbly mess, or are we looking at some sort of
Sphere.
You're looking at what looks like a globe, some would say.
Okay. It's a celestial body.
But like, it doesn't. What do planes look like from the outside?
What you see right now, there's a lot of water. You see the sun rise behind part of it, blindingly so for a moment. And you see the land under it and the sea be touched by sunlight.
So my question is, at what point can we see any stars, and at what point do they stop?
You look up, and you see stars, absolutely. But there's also a weird kind of shimmering around you that you don't usually see from down on the material plane. Almost like a bit like a very, very, very vague aurora borealis.
Ooh.
Just dancing across the sky in reds and blues and yellows, greens.
So we're definitely. I get the sensation we're outside of the material plane still.
Will my true sight still be up?
So for an hour, right?
Yeah. Nice. Anything?
There's no hidden passages where you
More, like does the plane look as though it has that same sort of bubble around it?
It does not.
Ooh.
Ah.
Are we exposed?
But if you look up, that shimmering to you seems denser.
Oh, so it's behind us. We're in it.
We're inside. We passed
inside.
through the membrane.
Wait, are we like
we're in like
in it?
We're in
upper
the,
hemisphere type deal.
The outer planar sphere. if
Can
you
we
will.
breathe?
You're breathing.
Oh, okay, this is good.
And what? And the material we're standing on,
You're floating.
we're just floating.
You're just floating.
I mean, I deactivate my boots of anti-falling.
That's a terrible idea.
You're still floating.
We're floating. If I make any sudden movements, do I just start spinning?
What is your intention of movement?
Oh.
I don't really have any. I'm just like, ooh, what's this? This is a new sensation.
As long as you do not have an intention to move, you stay in the same spot.
So, I took an invocation after some very unpleasant time in the maze to be able to levitate at will. Part of that is being able to raise or lower myself at will
Mm-hmm.
What happens if I try and lower myself by 20 feet?
Oh.
What's your intelligence modifier?
It's really good.
You can whisper this in my ear.
+2.
Okay.
Oh, fabulous.
You can lower yourself by 10 feet. And then you lower yourself by another 10 feet.
Ooh.
Bye, Adrian.
What are you doing? How are you doing that?
And if I think about going back up again?
Good about that.
Is it like the Feywild? I try and persuade the world around me to be home.
The stars do not listen to your request.
Just concentrate really hard about going up and down. Works for me.
Concentrate about going up, you go up. And you concentrate on going down, you go down.
Well, this is strange. It's a conscious effort decision, not a...
I think about lying in a hammock.
You move yourself
This is amazing.
horizontally. It doesn't feel any different because you were already floating.
Yeah, but the perception of it changes everything.
Okay.
Does his hair still like go down?
His hair is just kind of
Well, we're in water.
around. The
Essentially.
scarf that sits
Space
around
water.
his neck
Yeah.
is trailing weightless behind him.
I'm
So-
relieved I have no hair right now because that
Reki is like slavering a little bit and watching the droplets of his own spit go.
Yes. I've got a torch in my bag. Can I just huck it towards the world and just see if it goes?
Finn, that's littering.
Yes, you can.
It's organic littering.
We've been here for like 30 seconds and you're littering.
It's not littering. It's just experiments.
I lightning lure it back into my hand. No!
When anyone's moving, does it look
Imagine
like
if this
there's
impaled
like
someone from here.
air is like does hair sweep back that way, or does it just kind of everything just moves?
There's a
still?
little bit of air resistance, but very little.
We're not orbiting. We're not moving at all.
Are we geostationary?
If you are orbiting, you're doing so in perception loop.
Yeah, what do we know about orbital mechanics?
I don't know. Have you ever gone to a university that specializes in orbiting planes?
Probably not in any of these ones living memories, so let's assume that if I did, it's forgotten.
I chucked a rock into the sky once and didn't come back.
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Was it nighttime?
Probably definitely here then. Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Are you littering?
How
as well?
far away are we from the shimmering
Aurora.
aurora? Yeah.
Hard to tell because looking up,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing that gives you proper depth.
Oh, in between,
perception. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's nothing. It's like the whole, if you close one eye, you can't really tell whether what's behind it is further or closer. You see it against a background, and maybe it's really big, and you're nearby it. Maybe it's just really big.
Looking down. I have a map.
I was gonna say, this is-
as far as I
This is
have.
the ultimate map for you.
I have a map, and I can remember maps. So I look down and I just chart the point.
So roll me a perception check.
Use my spyglass.
You can take the spyglass, and it will give you advantage in this roll.
I take it,
Guidance.
and I'm like. I let it drift for like 2 seconds and catch it again. I'm like, aha! 19.
Price are just eventually. So, 19. Look through the spyglass. World seems big. You have a moment where you need to really orient yourself and try and. The strategy that you'd normally use to find landmarks and places, objects to remember your map or location by, you have to redo all of that. You can't look at trees because you're too far away to identify trees. But you do see big outlines. And you see a very big landmass. It's the wrong shape. It's more horizontal than vertical. But above it, you see a smaller landmass kind of coming down into a point. And not too far above that, you see an oddly shaped landmass with big grey area in the middle mountain range, maybe, or a grey sand desert. And that triggered memories.
Mm-hmm.
And you follow the ocean to the left. You find another landmass with 3 peninsulas sticking out upwards.
Mm-hmm.
And you look for the small island that you know lies above it, which you find.
Is it still a black blob? Because of the night spell.
How long has it been?
I don't think it's been has been 24 hours.
We haven't had a long rest since,
No,
right?
it's not been 24 hours.
No.
Still nighttime there.
Licking up.
That's not pasture or night coming outside as well.
You see the island you expect.
Mhm.
And only because of the spyglass are you able to make out from this distance just a little black spot in the middle of it.
Okay. Good news is we can see through.
Okay.
Ooh. I can't see shit.
Out here. Yeah, go to throw it, and then
I mage hand to then catch it and just gently guide it over.
No, I don't have eyes right now. Don't bother. I'll share me a memory crystal or something. Or paint. I'm a painter in knowledge. I don't know. I'll go on. Give me a spyglass.
You hear a voice. I think I found them.
Why would they?
I'm materializing next to you.
Oh no.
Whose voice is this?
You see the familiar dark blue skinned figure of Roni.
Oh!
Hey! What the fuck?
Hey, Rooney!
You're all alive.
Yeah!
Right, hold on. Come in.
How did you know that we needed rescue?
We've been looking for you all morning.
All morning.
That,
But
I'm
also
so
insight check.
this checks out.
Wait, all morning?
Phony.
We left in the morning, didn't we?
Left in the morning.
How many years has it been?
19.
19?
Yeah.
Seems genuinely concerned.
A good act.
Wait. True sight?
Let's stop.
Okay.
So it's blue skinned.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Baby.
Checks out.
We never left the maze.
You ready?
Yeah.
Take his hand.
I properly just like grabbed Denirian by the scruff of the neck. Like I'm just like, here.
Fair.
Greggy sees this, takes your example, grabs him by the calf.
Are we all fighting Denirian?
And
Settle.
the normal feeling of teleporting, the regular lurch to the stomach, the regular feeling of missing step, you're with the amount of travel you've done recently, you're starting to get used to it a little bit.
It's like we didn't miss an entire flight of steps.
Is it weird? I preferred the long one.
Yeah, that is a bit weird.
Just
No way.
no. It's something about going towards land at high speed. Just nope. Just I mean I can't see it happening, but I know it's happening.
You touch down to silence. Birdsong. The sounds of wind through foliage. But around you see the Kaniga, Seathan, many of the remaining monks, Luna, Gina, Denirian's father. Behind him it looked like many other people, and they are all silent, watching.
Boo?
Hi?
As you joke, Seathan bows her head, her gargantuan draconic head, and lowers it to the ground. And then the Kaniga takes a knee And like ripples in a pond around you, everyone leaves. And it's still nighttime. That should be morning.
I just look at Luna, probably clearly standing in amongst everyone.
She is.
I look over my shoulder, just like to break the tension a little.
I look at Nax and see there are two people in this game that feel comfortable.
Tom, just thinking about this situation, is feeling
right.
uncomfortable. Ridrian's loving it. He's like, yeah, this is more like it. This is the respect I deserve.
Ridrian's like, "'Tis about time." Yeah.
Raven takes a moment and says, "Well, enough of that. Get us chairs, if anything else. God, we've been standing around for hours."
And with that, you do feel a little like expectation, tension, not here awkward tension for these people, but expectant tension break, and suddenly people are like, chairs, do we have chairs up here? As you landed back up in the crater, and there's movement to get you stumps and stones. Luna runs over and gives you a hug. Gina runs over to you and just touches your face. Oh, you've made it.
Is somebody going to put a kettle on?
I'm sure you're making tea.
Once the tavern's repaired, I'll tell you all the story.
There's sudden movement, sudden life continues. People are rushing to get you something to sit on.
Weaver will like have Luna still hugging, but sort of like push up so she's not on the ground and like walk over towards the Kiniga.
She's nearby, kind of waiting for you to gather yourself in this moment as she realizes it may have been a bit much for some of them.
Is everyone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Good. Yes.
Nax has never stood up so tall. He's like realizing you can become more powerful if you're nice to people. Good.
And they say Nax's heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Raven just like, Iridian, you're levitating.
He's like, I know.
Well, with adoration like this is hard to keep your feet on the ground.
You're all being brought some form of improvised chair. You're being brought tea.
Rum? Is there rum? Oh.
I remove my purple pillow from my wrap.
I need a drink.
I forgot about the purple pillow. I love it.
One of the monks comes over and is like,
I love see so much.
do you want me to run to your home and get
Oh God, no. I mean, yes.
Don't you dare, Finn.
Ben?
In the cupboard under the stairs.
Oh my God.
We don't have stairs. In the cupboard in the kitchen, behind the pots and pans, there's this clay jug. Get me that, please. That'd be lovely. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Don't rush, don't stress yourself. He's no one important. And if he starts to think otherwise, it'll be the worst for everyone.
Finn, have you been hoarding magical items in the pantry again?
It's my magical items.
They rush off.
How rush?
They run.
Sprint?
For a moment,
the
you're
monks here have
concerned.
one. The monks here have one setting.
You realise then that you've seen these monks run before, and they seem to be good runners.
As long as they're not like, I don't know, breaking the sound barrier.
They do the thing where they're like, I'm just going to nip to the shops in tabletop.
Kinda, yeah, exactly. Just walk over the water.
Yeah.
Barry.
One continent over. The Kiniga sits with you and kind of watches you all.
That was stressful.
That was very stressful.
No. Nothing I can say will ever do justice to what you've done.
I mean,
That's why we've got a great PR department. I'll say all the things that will do it justice.
to be honest, this is more. Well, I'm not going to speak for the entire group, but I'm sufficiently feeling. I mean, we did it because we had to.
We saved the world.
You did. The whole world.
The plane.
Some might not know it.
Most won't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Finn feels uncomfortable.
we can definitely do something about that.
Marketing.
Oh my god, a song or two.
We weren't
I got a song.
entirely successful.
She looks up, and through the night sky that's still there, you can see the star.
It's not getting worse.
Yeah.
Well, then there's hope in that.
Yeah.
We still have to forget a lot worse though.
Yeah.
That's something.
Raven explains about the membrane surrounding the plane of chaos and how a hole was born through it with some sort of implement. Doesn't go into too many details.
Are you still hungry?
Yep.
Yep. Hence, not going into too many details.
Can I mage hand hold?
No.
Nope.
Just because it's
No.
Nope.
cure wounds.
Nope.
And
Need an hour with it.
explains that whilst the damage could not be repaired with that tool, it can't get worse than itself.
Then
20.
it sounds like you have all done more than we could ever have hoped for.
Really? I have to save the world completely, but I'll take it.
You've stopped the cataclysm.
It's a good name for it. We could call this Chaos's Cataclysm.
Cataclysm. No.
No. We did do that.
Kism. No.
We'll workshop it.
I mean, you can workshop it. I'm just gonna. I'll just have a break.
Well, on behalf of all of them, thank you. If you wish to stay here, you know that of course you can. If you need anything at all, and I don't mean just now. I mean tomorrow, in a few weeks, in a few years. And whatever future comes, you will always be welcome here.
I will take you up on that, but not right now.
So will I, but not right now.
We thank you for thanking us.
I understand it if you want to go home, but if you're not looking forward to the walk, I'm afraid I, after that little stint, can't teleport you right now, but
Yep.
That's
we
fair.
can certainly set you up a tent temporarily.
The walk will do us. And Raven starts summoning trauma. I was here the whole time. There you go.
We haven't camped out for a while, so
No.
Nostalgic. I can't even summon a big giant magic space boat.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's.
But we can go back to the good old-fashioned sphere.
Oh.
I'd love that.
Oh.
You guys, for old time's sake, can certainly set up your dome if you want to.
Mildly, slightly colder than anyone would actually like as per. Just for nostalgia,
Yeah.
of course.
Yep.
Right.
It is a little bit cramped as Luna is there, Gina is there, Daenerys' dad's hovering nearby.
Literally? Have to check.
Who's doing first watch?
I look over
There's
and
not.
see if I'm covered.
Marissa,
Yes.
when there's a moment, I would like to spend 10 minutes to cast Commune.
Go for it.
And before I do so,
We write down the questions.
I'm going to write down the questions and ask the group.
This is real character
Right.
growth, and I'm so proud of you.
So, I'm thinking the
Player
questions I
growth.
want to ask is: have we stopped chaos? If there's a no, for how long? No. Is that membrane going to tear more?
I feel like we've stopped chaos. The membrane's stuck. It's just maybe what comes next
Yeah.
Oh,
because of the hole.
Is there a thing that can fix the hole?
That's one as well. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
what can get through is a
Yeah. And can chaos send things through the hole? Is another important question.
Well, we already know that it's happened.
To the material plane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we ask future questions? Like, will chaos send something?
Does life know everything that's going to happen? Because if so, we've been vastly underusing this.
Well, I mean, there was that one time with the map and the grid squares, so
And you're still allowed to commune with them.
I know.
Got a bit fuzzy in the maze though. I'm thinking it was maybe less maze and more grid squares.
I'll cast commune.
You haven't written them down yet.
I've written them down in my mind,
That's
which means
worse.
I've already forgotten them. But
Go for it.
can chaos send things to material plane
Through the hole.
through the hole?
As you sit down, you feel that worrying feeling, but it's a lot more tangible. It's almost like there's two hands on your shoulders that give you a squeeze. And you get a fuzzy feeling, like as if someone, when you were younger, maybe your mom told you, "I'm really proud of you, Finrick." That feeling. Like taking a sip of a very warm cup of tea.
But not too warm.
And if you ask that question,
Ooh. Yeah.
the answer you get is will she be able to send things through? Will they be able to send things
Through the hole to the material plane, yeah.
To the hole.
Yeah. Possibly yes.
Ah,
Okay.
possibly, yes.
Will they be able to get through the hole?
Will chaos be able to get through the hole?
At this point, you feel your shoulders being squeezed.
No.
No! Ah. Third question.
Are they doing anything tonight?
I'm not. It's life. No.
What is a better celebration of life?
When life comes knocking.
Well, my final question is. Oh man, I've got like 6 that are competing.
We've got all the time in the world.
If only there was some better way to organise which one you were going to pick before you cast it.
Yeah, I know. Is there a world-ending threat that needs my attention in the next 2 days?
Yes.
Is this you submitting your holiday leave?
You
I want there to be the answer yes.
feel those hands almost gently push you down. And as you go down, a little uncertain, you lie down and it feels like someone puts a blanket over you. There's nothing there. All of you just see Finn suddenly lie backwards. And there's a soft glow around him. And it feels warm to you. And you feel an overwhelming tiredness.
Okay. Do I fall asleep?
If you want to.
I will fall asleep. I'm not gonna lie. You just put a weighted blanket on me. I'm falling asleep.
Like that, we're all like waiting around Finn for the last answer. Like
He's dead.
Well, clearly he's just going to his chrysalis.
This is how death clerics are made. Life gets old and then eventually it dies.
Comes out and looks like Reaver.
Well,
I think you drink my rum.
are we going to have like just a rest?
I want a
Like
long rest.
like one that isn't going to be immediately interrupted by assassins, or
Why would you say that?
because there's a fucking dragon over there just chilling. I feel like we're fine.
Nowhere to the dragon.
You rarely get.
She like kind of raises one nostril in response a little bit.
Your friends now.
Yeah. I think it's time for yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Finn, totally. I give him a slight kick in the shoulder and walk away and find a spot to keel over.
I'm already out.
Now that we can talk freely, now that those two are asleep,
I'm drinking chamomile tea, so I'm now also asleep. That is the sleepy bed.
turn to the smart two in the party. So, now that we can talk freely,
If I had enough wine, I would have drunken myself unconscious with the rest of them.
You do have a bottle.
so now we can discuss things freely. We have to talk about what we're going to do next. I actually didn't have anything to say. I just wanted to make that joke. I was hoping you'd be asleep by now. Because my ultimate end goal, Grekky. Now that we're alone, we can talk freely, unfettered by the watchful eyes of our...
You look over at Grekky. Grekky's curled up against the Nerian side.
Such a good boy.
You see Gina on the other side of the Nerians kind of gently stroke his hair.
Such a good... no.
Keep him watch.
Cute.
Reaver, as you lie down, wanting a long rest, you see Luna sitting not too far off, talking to Roni. Their hands moving in an animated fashion, and it looks like they might be discussing some form of magic, as there's clearly some somatics happening, occasional bits of like
No, it's like, no, I did this and I flew.
No, it's this, not this.
Exactly.
That one gives bat wings.
And there's
This one when things are awkward.
It's Leviosa.
basically, they seem to be going on about something, and you see just over her shoulder the vague outline of another figure. That looks like maybe a young girl. Gives you a nod just before you drift off.
I just like. Yeah.
Unless there's anything people want to do, you can take your long rest.
Yeah, a long rest that we can decide to actually have.
Uninterrupted,
decide
without
to
watches.
You can level up. You can roll HP. Go for it, Sam.
For the last time.
7!
Nice!
Nice.
A good omen!
7!
Nice.
Alright, who else is in D8?
I am.
Don't let the side down.
But it's okay if you do.
Yeah, we won't be mad.
1. Reroll.
Yes.
That's a Nordic 7!
I swear to God, on my final level up, do not fuck me with this.
So what?
That's a 1 you get a reroll. It's shit.
Exile!
Double ones.
Yeah.
If this is 1, you've got to keep it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And for your hardship, you get your just
2!
I'm a D10, right? Yeah.
5.
5, solid number.
It's not even possible for me to roll.
5!
5?
Nice!
That's one of the
Nice.
highest roll I've ever had.
It's 1 less than max, that's what we rolled.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Part of the 7 crew.
I'm a D10, right?
Yes.
Fuck off, full 7.
Is this a 10?
That's a 12.
Who's your HP now?
122.
Oh!
Well,
I finished this campaign as the tank.
well, the funny thing is, Ryan, I get a feat, and I'm fucking tough. So,
Are you actually?
no.
Even if you did,
7.
what would your HP be?
And for Grekky?
7?
It'd be
777.
9.
104.
Grekky.
Nice.
I think Grekky might have the eyes.
142.
Damn.
Yeah,
No, I'm not picking tough. I know I'm picking.
No, don't pick tough.
No.
Tough sucks.
Yeah, it has its uses, but not for
I
me.
finished too shy of 100.
Oh, buddy.
I didn't quite break 3 figures.
Someone give this person 10 hit points.
Where's that book?
So,
I finished with 108 hit points.
And thank you. It's important that
Yes.
you know that.
Before drifting off, I would like to spend a considerable amount of hit points before I drift off
What?
attuning to an item.
okay.
Oh, no.
I want to, like, drifting off kind of, I'll sort of like remember what's going on. I'll like head off deeper into the caldera and find an area that's sort of like secluded.
So initially the exhaustion takes you and you do fall asleep. You have the moment where you like wake up almost with the
Why did I wake up? Eviscerated.
Exactly.
Oh!
almost with the shock of it. You attune to the weapon. And it's one of the few times when it's probably good that you're sitting in a secluded spot, as your patron appears before you.
Uh-oh.
And although they are taking on the to you familiar form of a younger girl, there's they feel more tangible, more present. As they say, you must never use this weapon. You can keep it, and it will probably be the safest place to be kept. But you must vow to never use it.
I see this as a means to an end. I never want to use it. And like, you will stand up bloody at this point, like. But I will if it needs it.
If you use that weapon, our ties are gone.
As long as Luna is protected from whatever this can defend her from, that's fine with me. I don't hold anything against you. And I know what this means. And I know what this is capable of. But moreover, you probably won't have to worry about it because it'll probably be at length to keep the balance is all I'm kind of vying for. You can tell that I'm not lying.
And yet, this holds so much weight that I would have you swear a magically binding oath.
Yep. Because I've seen what happens to objects of great power. And I look across the caldera at everybody. When I trust anyone but me.
What?
They hold out a hand. Do you swear it?
This is an easier oath to make. And chuckles a bit, grabs a hand.
You get a returning chuckle, but one that resonates around you, not from the figure in front, but the entire space everywhere seems to chuckle with you for a moment. It's the one time when even I, and they also glance over at the dome, my sibling, were tricked. Some of both of us is in that. And we should never meet.
So far, in my experience, Maybe you've been locked away behind whatever it is you're locked away behind for too long. Maybe it's how it's supposed to be, but Finn and I did some great things. Should maybe work together more often.
Roll me an insight check.
Oh god, mine's god awful. 15.
You know death pretty well, though.
There's almost an undertone of sadness or regret, as they say. We've learned the hard way.
Well, Finn's gonna be around a while. I'm gonna be around significantly longer, probably. Those are some portents to live vicariously through. This here is, for all intents and purposes, a pact. I'm still holding on to the beliefs of the first one, even though there's nothing really in it for me. Even though there is. And you nod to Luna.
They look over as well. Don't worry. So am I.
I figured. I won't use it. Unless it's the end of all things.
Let's hope. That will be far beyond your lifetime.
Maybe.
Critters in group Noctis Raven. And have a sleep, you deserve it.
Yeah.
And that too, the last voice comes from almost within your head.
I'll wait in the kind of dark area out with when everything fades. And like look at the kind of unmaker now that I'm attuned to it.
So, you would know that it does 3d10 damage. Necrotic, radiant, and magical slashing respectively. It automatically rolls max damage against any celestials or undead.
What?
Or any constructs that are made by life, death, and or chaos.
That's everything.
Constructs, not creatures.
Okay. Okay.
Like golems.
You also learn, and this is something you feel more on an instinctual level, considering your patron being who they are. It has the power to unmake. Not to kill, but to unmake.
Ooh. Erase, essentially.
Retroactively? As in never was, or?
I can finally get the stain on my t-shirt.
My sleeping
Only one
leathers.
way to find out.
Yeah, we'll never know then.
Finn, let me see your sleeping leathers.
It's fake, they were cloth
And then-
about them.
Like holding it.
When you hold it while attuned, it remains uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt you as much as it did, but you see the skin around it starts deforming weirdly. You start to see these wrinkles form on it, almost as if you have held your hand in the water for like an hour. And then looking at it, they disappear, they smoothen, and it's almost like the callus on the skin disappears with it as well. and the fingertips go black slightly.
So, like, so you're
And
going,
it fades.
you're going through like all the stages of living and dying all at once.
Ooh,
Fucked.
hot.
Reaver can like look at it. You know, like spin it around in a circle and like make it just vanish into fire.
Okay.
Packed weapon.
The best pack weapon, but also just.
Does it have a name that you instinctively know when you attune to it?
It's not got a name.
You get to name the rod I'm making. Nice.
The magic
I
eraser.
feel like it
Susan.
shouldn't be named.
No,
Susan.
no.
The magic eraser.
So specifically, he's not going to put a name to it because when he creates a weapon, he names it.
That's fair.
It vanishes, possibly forever.
Possibly.
As you eventually get up, you hear behind you in a much lighter tone of voice. Oh, if you're wishing to get rid of any people who've outlived their time, I've got a nice, how would you say this as a mortal? A place above the fire mantle that could use a lyre.
Damn it, I wanted to have a conversation first.
Yeah, it's on the list. And Reaver keeps walking.
Okay. There's as someone who's, been through a lot with their patron, you feel like the fact that they let you keep it is an act of trust.
Oh yeah, yes.
Not just that, also the lyre. The fact that you get to deal with that as you see fit is is an extension of their trust in your judgment.
The other weapon I've got questions about. I'm wondering if they could have taken it off of me. Oh, that's for after chats.
Session 100, baby.
Walks towards the group. Yeah.
Okay.
Walks into the bubble. Goes because he wasn't in it when it. No. Taps Sam on the shoulder. A word.
Sausage.
Good word. Grab. Come here.
Yes, let's go.
Not too far from the bubble.
Yes.
But just.
We're talking about Lyra, or your oath to kill me, or Finn's terrible bathing habits.
Oh God. The third is.
Crusted leathers.
Have you seen him wash
Yes.
the sleeping leathers once?
Oh, no.
No, me neither.
But you did ask me how to shave properly, and like a spruce's look. So we covered much of it.
Okay.
It just never seemed to go around. So I forgot about the separate leathers for sleeping in.
Yeah, it's
One time he got stabbed.
yeah.
You only need to get stabbed once.
You look over and you can actually see that Eridrian specifically is face away from Finn.
I will say this is the only time Finn has not slept in his sleeping leathers.
Oh. Are they just
He's sleeping in his half plate now.
There's a fucking dragon over
they
there.
stood up next to him like a scarecrow?
In a perfect artist mannequin position like that.
Just like Iron Man step out of them and they remain.
So it got a little heated at the end there.
Yes.
You
didn't hear all of the conversation I had with Lyra?
No, but she did try and, subvert everything we were trying to accomplish.
And I think it's important.
So I'm assuming something went wrong.
It's important that you know that that was a one-sided decision.
I figured.
Just, saying these things out loud. They wanted to stay, and that would have had a conversation about, but they just snapped the bond which would have hurt, but I prepared against that. What's the phrase? Finn said it once. Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
I was really hoping you were going to get through to it.
Yeah, maybe I would have, but it's not my problem anymore.
Sorry for that.
Don't. They made their decisions, now they get to live with the consequences. Everyone gets at least one chance with me.
When's this going to fix?
The outside termination date is a year and a day from when the deal got made.
Okay.
So I feel like as catastrophic, permanent, life-altering deals with the Fae goes, this was not one. This was just annoyingly inconvenient.
Yeah.
Which is
actually kind of helped us in amongst all the changelings, because
shockingly, yes. And we'll never know if that was deliberate or not.
Oh, you think maybe she would have helped? Either way. Sorry about the Lyra situation.
Breakups happen.
So there's one course of action now I'm going to follow.
Oh yeah?
Do you have any other options? Or are you sort of spent with it? I want to check.
I have a long-term idea, but it requires an unthinkable amount of research, and I have no idea if it's really possible. We're talking, like, I anticipate everyone else we know except for Nax will probably be dead by the time I see it come to fruition.
Okay.
But they're an immortal, so...
Yeah, so we can change that pretty quickly.
Wait, you
can send them on.
Oh. They didn't want that. But, again, they betrayed me, so I'm not their advocate anymore.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
It's a solution that results in the cleansing of the corruption and the freeing of the soul. So, I think there might be 3 in there. Or maybe gods are nothing but soul. Who knows?
How long will the research take, do you think? And do you want to commit to this?
I'm going to research it anyway, because I said I would a long time ago.
Okay.
But it's not for Lyra. Specifically, they just benefit from it. Does that make sense?
Would you like Lyra to be there at the end of it?
It would be nice, but the end goal is, if my theories about how life and death work are true, then all it would buy them is essentially a mortal lifespan untainted by chaos to do with as they please.
Seems like a nice kind of...
It's a goal. Could help a few people.
Okay.
If they wanted it. But, again, I'm going through that course of action anyway. I'm sure you'd agree that the ultimate outcome for everyone is death.
Yeah. But if there's a chance of people living a life before that, that's a good thing, I think.
I think that seems to be our group's, motto.
Okay.
Everyone gets an extra chance.
Sweet.
So if you're offering them that chance...
Okay.
Just as long as we're clear that I'm not bullying you into this.
No.
I'm very disappointed in them.
This is me being on your side still.
Ow.
Oh shit, you're so frail just now. I didn't...
It's okay. I'll fix it in the morning.
Finn's like...
Don't worry about
Finn's like wearing some sort of aura blanket. I can't...
And you thought the night leathers were something else.
Is it midday?
This is it. It's just whatever nth level spell that you've got. It's just protected while sleeping. Just like assassins just...
Oh, interesting. Yeah, no.
Okay. Let's say you have however long you have.
Yep.
Totally.
Chill.
I know. Pat on the shoulder. Head back in.
Good chat. You're a good friend.
Yeah.
Thank you for not killing me for turning into a monster.
You haven't turned into a monster, as far as I've seen.
That's my secret. I was always a monster. Thank you for giving me a second chance.
That's what we do, apparently.
Yeah. That name will stick. Anyone who can stop me is a Adrian. Right, good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bark.
You lay down to rest. You wake up, rhythm entirely fucked, to both a dawn and a dusk happening at the same time.
Oh!
Describe that to me, please.
Normally we have the gradient in the sky going from like kind of pastels to the deep blue. There's a line of deep blue in the middle.
Yeah.
And in both the west and the east,
Double sun.
you see the colors of sunrise and sunset happening at the same time.
Oh.
But where the sun is setting, there is a real sun.
Ah.
And where the sun is rising, you see the colors of dawn. The bright pinks and the bright yellows. But the exact center of it, there is no sun.
Is this your thing wearing off? What? No.
What?
I'm just modeling this because I will at some point reproduce this inside.
Oh, here's the thing. Does daytime fade in, but then it's sunset?
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
That's what I'm getting.
Have I been a nightlight this entire time, by the way?
Have you been?
And just like a nightlight inside the dome, by the way.
Waking
So
up to
eventually
sunset.
it faded a little bit,
Okay.
but the feeling of warmth for you did not. You slept without a blanket the entire night, but you didn't feel uncovered. You felt warm, protected. You didn't have that feeling of having to like pull your hand back in the blanket or the undead
Yes.
demon's gonna get your food. None of that. You felt properly warm, covered.
Which is
Food
amazing.
goes out the bubble and the dragon just grabs you.
Everyone else is feeling slightly uncomfortably chilly, except for Finn
Except for Finn.
and Max.
Yes.
It's perfect.
But you wake up.
Breakfast. Oh, did that monk come back?
Yes.
Amazing.
There is, next to the bubble on the outside, sits a small jug.
You can't get in.
You can have breakfast for dinner.
Nice.
If you like.
I want pastries.
And unless there is any immediate urgent business,
There's one.
go for it.
Getting up. Everything as like that kind of like in between like twilight sunlight type of thing. We're just going to step away from the bubble and pat Sam on the shoulder as he does. And, like, hold his hand out, one of them, and the area in front of him is going to like start to swirl and distort and darken, and the light sort of vanishes away from the area in front of him. And he turns to Sam and he's like, I even got nothing on me. And I step forward through this dark portal thing, and it just warps as I create my own demi-plane.
What the fuck?
And I walk in. No one sees what's happening inside, and I walk back out without Lyra.
Oh.
And it closes off.
Okay, but mine comes with food. Neat.
Find me when your research is done.
You'll hear from me.
Let's go get breakfast.
Yes. That would be a perfect... You should have said that like later, because that's the perfect moment for me to disappear into invisibility for like 1,000 years.
Go and get yourself some
I'm not
food.
Bard, I don't know what to do.
It's okay, we've got time.
Oh,
Breakfast.
Brenner.
Dinner. Breakfast Brenner.
Hot springs and food. I'm
And rum.
very achy.
So much rum.
We
So old.
leave the detailed RP stage.
Goodbye.
We'll have a quick break if people want to gather their thoughts for a moment, because after this, I would like you to share what your character is going to do after their adventuring days are over or not. Describe your short-term goals. They are fairly likely to happen. Long-term goals? Who knows? Maybe. Time will tell. We might yet come to learn of that. And if people want to write down some bullet points or get themselves a glass of water, you can also do that.
I have selection teas.
Or tea.
One as well.
Raised by his elfin mother as a single child, Denarian's mom talked little of his human father. Apparently he was a great man. Growing up in a secluded village, there was no religion or magic, there were barely visitors. Here, there was only the circle of nature. Denarian made himself useful to his clan as hunter, but he never stopped being distracted by life outside the forest lands, and his curiosity of humans often got him in trouble. Even more so when he learned that somewhere people could apparently do magic. Finally, and not unexpectedly, the day came that he set out, against the wishes of his peers, and ventured beyond the forest. Denarian found that there were many things he wasn't ready for. Currency, for one, was an entirely foreign concept to him. He also learned that people can be cruel and harm for fun when he freed and stole a wolf pup from a trader's cage. Yet none of this deterred Denarian from wanting to enjoy the crazy chaos of the wider world. When he heard rumours that magic could be taught in a faraway capital of a different continent, Denarian and Greki boarded a ship. They would not return to Orion for a long time. The stars were especially beautiful tonight, Lady Jane Akeldia thought to herself. The pride she had once felt at her accomplishments turned into a resentful nostalgia. She sighed heavily. It had been too long since she had fed, and looked up at Simon. Her mind was already processing her next steps as she led him to the large bed. She would sate her hunger, and in the clamour of her consort's unexpected passing, would declare herself in mourning and leave her estates in the care of the heirs to the dynasty she had created. She would take on the persona of Samantha, a young woman disguised as Samuel Ransford, a travelling bard. A mask over a mask over a mask over a mask. Common practice for the 900-year-old shape-changer. All that she had learned was that being long-lived just meant watching the people you cared for die. Nothing had given her the satisfaction she had sought. Not family, not power, not the gods, not even selfish fulfillment of her every passing desire. And so, after centuries, she finally gave in to wanderlust and left Orion in search for the thrill of adventure. Even when Finric Jameson was just a small lad, he had an affinity for helping those who needed it. It started with a small bird with a broken wing that miraculously flew again, and from there evolved into apprenticing at the local temple, where he learned the arts of medicine until his 18th name day, after which he travelled south to learn healing on the road. A plan put to an abrupt end when bandits attacked him and robbed him of all but his name and knowledge. Going from doctor to beggar, Faith was quick to introduce new opportunity to Finn, in the form of a dying dwarven man. And by saving the life of First Mate Usenthor, Finn was granted the position of ship's doctor aboard the Bleeding Crow. Here, he lived an adventurous life of scavenging, exploring and smuggling, although never killing. But more importantly, he lived a life as a trusted friend of Captain Josephine, the devil on the water, equally feared and respected. He would never have chosen to leave that ship. That choice was made for him by Captain Soren, whose dark history with Josephine Finn never entirely uncovered. The doctor was thrown overboard with no knowledge of what happened to his new family or Josephine, the captain he was slowly falling in love with. Instead, he woke up on a small beach, clothes torn and stiff with dried salt. With gritted teeth, he set out to find the nearest city and means for revenge. Waking up in a strange place, sore and nauseous, Nax couldn't quite remember where he came from, or how he ended up in this endless field of long grass. All he remembered was that someone or something had seriously pissed him off. It took him some time to find his way across this strange landscape, and when he finally found the city, he was starving and angrier than he had ever felt. It didn't take him long to find the nearest tavern, where he proudly demanded the guests make space for him and serve him his food. I said, "Leave, lest you be damned." When they laughed in his face, the anger was tempered slightly by confusion. Why weren't these peasants quivering in their boots at the mere sight of him? Nax raised a hand to neck level in a choking grip whilst lofting the other overhead as if cradling some orb. Nothing happened. Rage was now replaced by confusion and perhaps even some fear as he snatched some food and ran, huddling in an alley with only a cloak to protect him from the elements. Slowly the realization dawned on him that he had lost something very important and that he would have to work like some lowly wizard to get it back. Stealing a spellbook and focus, he picked up a rumor. The royal family was looking for an object of great power. Something he could keep for himself, perchance? If you are a bandit in the north of Padina, you better watch the shadows. Tales tell of a carnage-fueled demon that will find you should you gather too much fame. The Grim. It has been some time since Noctis Reaver took on that persona. For him, the story started when bandits pillaged a small farmer's village he lived in, when he ignored the knife at his throat to save his sister. As he lay on the floor and felt life leave him, he bargained with death. You are willing to pay for your soul by servitude, and for her life with what is equal to her worth. With the dagger that slit his throat in hand, Noctis took up the mantle of bounty hunter and started the laborious journey of evening the scales. It was a few years later when a royal courier came looking for the Grim to get rid of some nobleman the king himself could not be seen taking action against. His Royal Highness King Ansel would be most pleased to hear of your acceptance of this task, and would be most grateful for your services. Noctis didn't care much for his employers. A soul was a soul. Completing his task with ease, he set out for the capital of Astrakani to collect his payment, and to collect a new unexpected job. One that required him to join up with a motley group of 5, who he introduced himself to as Reaver. Loving to play parts of mystery and intrigue, it was both mantle and name that Eridrian put upon himself. Leaving an unexciting life and a sad past behind entirely, he surrounded himself with the more magical and dangerous aspects of the Feywild, and became an emissary for the Seelie court, spreading the good word. Yet curiosity still plagued the Eladrin. Often he went to those big doors wrought from golden branches. No noise could be heard through them, but he knew court would be in session. There had to be another way in. Searching the ever-changing halls, a voice like a soft summer's breeze interrupted his sneaking. Lost a path? And ever since, Eridrian walked with a renewed step, and in her name. His journey to the material plane began when he received a direct summon from her to find and retrieve an artifact of great power in the form of a book. Setting out, Eridrian infiltrated a strange and dull palace, working together with a group of hired humans. Dodging traps and guards, he managed to retrieve the mysterious tome, its cover slightly hairy and of an ever-shifting grey colour, and with a closed eye on the front. Wanting to quickly escape, he used the planeshift scroll that Tatiana had given him, only to feel an uncanny tug mid-teleport. And rather than finding himself in the Seelie halls, he found himself unceremoniously dumped in the bathtub of a very confused doctor.
So,
You should be changing next campaign.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
don't tell anyone.
starting on my right-hand side of the table.
That's it.
Reaver. Noctis Reaver. in some parts of the world, maybe still known as the Gloom.
Yeah. The first thing Reaver does is expands the hallowed ground in full. He's got a while.
Wow.
And if he can create a ground where that tear would never affect, then that's probably the main thing you would set about for a while. It would be like a kind of recurring goal. Because with the whole chaos leaking and imminent threats, undead, whatever, Reaver's work's still not done. So he'll continue to walk the path of balance, treading the fine line that they walk down in the temple right at the beginning. If any of the adventuring party currently are going to set sail or gallivant across the world or whatever, Reaver's going to be a shadow under the sails or there for them wherever they go, because they're definitely going to at least poke something eldritch, something horrific, something definitely in the vein, and that sort of like narrows the search function for Reaver. Like if he sticks around them, they'll attract the chaos and that'll happen. Everything else kind of relies on Luna.
Okay. In that case, let me tell you about Luna.
Luna's that rock.
Luna the Reaver finds her new home in Thule as well, and over time she integrates almost entirely. She finds herself into the more relaxed philosophies on the island, and eventually she finds herself a woodworker that she apprentices under. And even as she develops her skill with a chisel, she continues to be a regular visitor and guest at the monastery, where she learns as much from the monks as they do from her. And she's an odd little combination of martial magic. She never entirely loses the ageless look that she has in her eyes, and she is often seen talking to the air by people. Although some of them swear that next to her there's a fake shape when she does so. But as she ages, she finds herself not only at peace, she does find herself in a wonderful place that she calls home. She has a craft that she enjoys honing. She remains on good terms with both Theoden and Ilres, the young dragon. And eventually, she is given a, for an outsider, very exceptional place on the Kniga's Council.
Oh shit.
If you were to ask her though, if she wants to join on any travel, adventure, see more of the world, she'll be the first to say yes.
Reaver kind of having that space filled up by Luna doesn't really go back to the monastery per se. Doesn't do the kind of learning from monks or whatever. Luna's got that area covered. Reaver's goals are far outreaching and out in the world. There's always that circle that's right next to the homes. For all intents and purposes, Reaver still doesn't age. Remains the force of death's ferryman. And judging on what everybody else does, takes part in an adventure or two. long-reaching. Once most of the friends are gone. A research bargain was struck with Sam. Reaver intends to honour that and wait out as long as it takes.
As long as it takes.
Okay.
If Luna ever decides to, or whatever happens, if she passes over, then Reaver will go with, taking up hopefully a position with kind of in the similar vein to where they already are, but in a more official sense.
Okay.
He will make sure that if he lasts that long and goes wherever that path takes him, he will try and personally meet every one of his friends in passing. That's where his story takes him.
Benedict Jameson. Ship's doctor.
I haven't been one of those in ages. But so so in the beginning, Finn will see what everyone else is doing in terms of where do people want to go, are people done seeing the world, are people, and from there he'll be like, okay, well, 2 seconds, and the Kaniga said, if you need anything. And I took that and I was like, actually, because all the way back in like session 2, we found a mask in a shrine of white and black. So there have been shrines to this force before. We also unleashed magic on a continent that didn't have it for thousands of years. So, funny thing about the word of recall spell, you don't just need to have one sanctuary. And he asked the Kaniga to teleport him. First of all, he wants to go see his parents. Because his dad, a shipbuilder, he's old, and he wants to just see his parents and make them as comfortable as possible, both through the mundane and the magical. And also setting aside one of the 500 gold diamonds he has as a luxurious retirement fund for them, so that him and the entire village can know safety and comfort. Then he will go back to use Thule as his main hub of where he's going to settle down, go attend a university, teach if he can, when he can. He also will gather his friends at times, and if we want to go see the world or help an ambassador in a continent, and definitely go to that continent and help with teaching people how to heal, how to help, maybe stopping a few people who would be antithesis to that. And then one day we'll take a ship to go to Pirateria and visit Grace and let her know what happened with Josephine, and then offer to take her to Josephine and Josephine's resting place on Thule through the power of Word of Recall.
If you can offer Grace a way for her to get back, then her initial very, very cool reception of you changes. And she goes with you to the and for a long time stands at that grave. And watching from a respectable distance, you can see she's got a captain stands, white-legged, almost counterbalancing waves that aren't there. You can see that she's like a little hunched from holding a wheel constantly. And she'll just be there for some time. And eventually you watch her bury what looks like maybe a sash just below the surface dirt. All the while this is happening, she doesn't talk to you. And before she turns around, you, with your knowledge and understanding of people, see her just quickly wipe her face.
Did she say anything to the ground?
If she did so inside her head, not out loud. But she tries to make sure that you don't see her tears and that you don't see through the very stern demeanor that she puts on.
When she comes, I'll not say Captain, and I'll also apologize, saying sorry I had no idea of where I left you with a callous just message with no idea of the impact that she had on your life, and you deserve more than that, and I hope this makes up for that in some small way.
With that apology, she kind of coughs away a little bit of emotion that catches in her throat. It's just kind of... Barataria has a place for you, if you want it.
I mean, a privateer always needs work. But
I know that Josephine steered away and preferred to privateer, but just so you know, Dr. Jameson.
No one's called me that in years. I take Grace up on that offer for a couple of years to truly see more of the world, heal those who are in need, and also maybe just try my best to assuage the more
less privateering?
Yeah, like really try and instill some of the lessons and ethos that Josephine instilled in me into others. I'll then want to visit Abletop and see how Cole is getting on ever since he was touched by life.
And we'll tell you about Cole in a bit.
Let's see what else is on the list. Apart from that, it's I also want to use up the last of my money. Well, not last. I want to use up about 1,000 gold worth of my money, and I want to buy a jewel encrusted goblet. And one day, maybe a couple of years when we're all back in Thule, I want to make a hero's feast for all of us, with dishes from around the world that we've seen, and everything. Just, yeah.
For the Union for Heroes.
Yeah.
Okay. Either Upper Tamkin nurses or next.
A name both infamous and famous.
Ooh.
Saved though. The book is saved.
I thought you were just doing like a farewell to Nax, like a. That's how he would have wanted to go.
I was waiting patiently for Finn to finish before, in case it went pop and like destroyed all the tension.
It's nice.
So probably in like a couple of days after everyone's settled, Max, when we're down at breakfast, is just going to turn to everyone and say, I think you've brought me power greater and more unknown than I could ever have imagined. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon, but first I have plans for the Frostfell. And with a wry smile and a wink, he sets off and goes and makes the starting of a teleportation circle in Thule to connect permanently, eventually, to the Frostfell. And away he goes to see what has become of the Frostfell while we've been in the endgame. How has the village been coping in his absence? Have they, managed to live a nice civilized life without their evil people, or has the vacuum been filled?
Weirdly, after everything that's happened, arriving back at the Frostfell, it's like time has stood still there. So very little has changed. None of the massive statues have any blood on their arms or weapons. You see that hesitance that people have, that fear that something could happen any day, is very strong and deep rooted. And again, upon your arrival, there is a wariness and a when is it gonna happen? But it looks like people have continued their lives. No one has tried to make a grab for power. Rakrego is a leading figure in terms of that if people want a bit of advice, he is the first one they will turn to. As he more naturally carries that kind of air of command. But, that being said, it's weird how little things seem to have progressed.
Nax gonna take some time with Rakrego, as he's this kind of power figure, authority figure in the village, and explain his grand vision for the Frostfell and how it will become the centre of the trading world. And
Oh no.
he's going to attempt to try and build it bring something to it, because what does it have to offer? Not very much, really, when we get down to it. It's an icy cold place. Who would want to come here, really? It's not like a ski resort or anything.
Set up Winter Wonderland.
Well, yeah, how about we resort potentially, maybe you could influence that, everything. So Nax sees, as a place where teleportation circles can centre and people can use it to go from one place to the other, starting with Thule as the main link and then building as can, so that people come to the village and help it prosper.
Rest
Of course, within the limits of what the world will work with it. But as that idea, because it all went well when it went back, it actually turns back to Thule the next day, pretty much. Great news. And just continues to build that kind of teleportation circle there, while draw on the talents of the party, like Reaver, to protect the area and in the Frostfell, to make it like a free trade zone that no one can come and be evil.
That's cool.
Okay.
and over time aims to build that up and try and make the Frostfell not so frosty.
You learn from speaking to Regrego and kind of gaining his very, very, very hard-won confidence that he was actually one of the last members to leave the cult.
Knew
He's a cultist.
What? No way.
He tells you how in the latter years Ramazur seemed to gone completely insane, sending disciples out left and right to try and spread the word, but like a madman, he tells you how maybe over a drink one night when the tongue is loosened somewhat, how he saw fellow members go out into the cold, into the ice, and just die. He tells you of people that supposedly went to different planes but never came back, and no matter what sending spell, they couldn't reach them. And he tells you how he realizes that it's not what he wanted. He didn't want to die for a cause that he didn't understand, and maybe in a bit that might be somewhat on the sentimental side for Nax. He tells him about how he came to care for people once he started to live among them, and he goes full on eventually into sob story about finding true love, and it gets a little happy at that point. Exactly.
Wow.
Like the beginning is a hard, cold truth about someone somehow freeing themselves of a cult and living in fear of discovery, of Ramazur finding out for the rest of his life. The end is definitely slurred, drunken speech.
I feel like the first few drinks into it, Nax is feeling, I can relate to this. I feel like, my heart is softened a little bit, like lovely people, and then, as the drinks go on, Nax starts to feel a little bit more awkward. This is not quite there yet. And the final thing, kind of Nax, this will be early and being there, but he's going to go up into the old castle and he's going to sequester away all the kind of tools of his past life that have the symbol of the destruction he caused and that, but knowing well that they are important still, and sets the condition that he can only get them again if one of the other party members come with him to retrieve them. So if they're needed for good.
Okay.
Dang.
Yeah, damn. I think if history were to remember anyone, it would be Nax. And not Aputamkin.
Name to be forgotten.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah. I love just casually. I'm going to build an interplanetary trading hub.
I'm going to redefine global economics.
Yes, if anyone. Amazing.
This is Raven or Sam? What would you prefer?
Excellent question. Something we'll probably figure out in the next wee while, because they started as a very old, jaded, cynical person named Raven who died. And the person they were pretending to be, Sam, was what came back. And we're in a weird kind of circular position where now they're feeling old again because the vitality, borrowed vitality that was keeping them youthful is missing. Along with their inborn power. But that's not going to stop them having a holiday. Step one on this short list is a whistle-stop tour around some of the places that the party has been, with anyone who wants to come with. Like, this is an option. It might take a wee while, and there will doubtless be small-scale stuff that needs resolved. She's going to check in. I feel it's probably going to be Sam, not Raven. She's going to check in at Abeltoft and find out who won that story competition. She put down a platinum when she left and said, this goes to the person who comes up with the best story. Is that still going?
You remember there was one older man who was listening. And at a glance, he is not who you envision to be the best storyteller. Not because they're old, but because when they speak, their voice isn't particularly pleasant to listen to. It's a bit gravelly. You can imagine they've had either a lot to smoke or a lot to drink. It's raspy. But you recognize talent when it's performing. You see when you return, not everyone who joined the competition is still there. But recognizing you, if you appear in a form that you've seen and
I
that
think
you've come in for.
that for places where they've been before, disguise self would like just pad things over, and if it gets discovered or the spell runs out, it's just got cursed by a fae in an adventure. Do you want to hear about it?
No, yeah, it happens to everyone occasionally.
Like it's played off very blasé, and if other party members there, you wanted to go to Abeltoft, so I assume at least Finn is there, and you're down for adventure. So whoever's there, being chill and blasé about it, will almost certainly smooth any waters, along with a perfectly believable explanation like Feywild, archfays, curses. What can you do? It'll be over in a year.
Exactly. So this man, out of all things, drinks a big glass of buttered rum. Warm. And it smells sweet, like there's syrup in it. And after doing so, they take out what look like 2 small bows and they start sticking it together. And this is for you where the bardic experience kicks in and you have a moment of, wait, this is way more than this person appeared to be in the service. And as they do so, they start not telling, but almost chanting. It's not really singing, it's more like a monotone, like, and they go through the story roughly as you gave it to them. It's deformed somewhat over time, you can imagine. And looking at the crowd, people have heard it before, and you being a bard, you can imagine that he's adjusted the favourite parts to, maybe last a little longer and be a bit more embellished. But seeing this man with these simple bones tick away, you think you have somehow created for a lot of people here a wonderful night of entertainment that may have happened not just once or twice, but several times in your absence. And you know that this is a harsh city. And you can see it on this man and just the lines that he wears in his face of hardship. But you can also see why this is very much a justified winner of a contest that you created.
Absolutely. And in leaving, Sam will make sure that there's prize money for the next few competitions, so that this tradition can continue.
Okay.
Next up on the Whistle Stop tour is Zeewind to find that random bard she lent her panpipes to.
Oh my god.
What's he up to? Where'd that end up?
There's a halfling bard or something?
Yeah, it was. I don't remember his name, and neither does Sam.
We're going in the NPC route. I might have to add things.
Fuck yeah.
It's okay, I warned Marissa.
Did you? This is a panic note checking by Mercer.
No. This is some note taking, and just to say storytelling yearly.
100%.
You've just created a new holiday for campaign 2.
I am very happy.
Do you think any of your friends would go with you to Zeewind?
She'd tell them where she's going, and she'd say that the next stop after that is Astrakani.
Seawind was where the inn was, right?
Kraken.
Was that Astrakani?
That was
Kraken.
Astrakani.
Astracani is the whistle stop that
I'll
Weaver
go to
would go with.
Astrakani for sure.
Let's go. I'll nip back. I
Well,
can
are you going to take horses between Seawind and Astrakani?
You're not like
Well,
walking
what a
around.
good old time to
Trauma and I will take the long road because the trauma.
You
God.
do not find, unfortunately, that hard.
Unfortunate.
What you do find is that the Wayside Inn, where you met Shasita for the first time, is still standing.
Okay.
None the wiser.
Burn to the ground.
It is still a pleasant place between two cities.
You should pick up time.
You should claim
Interesting
it. You
stuff.
should buy the inn. Claim it as your own.
Good too. I have bigger plans. Cool. Then once we get to Astrakani, nip back, pick everyone up, because there was an injured person.
Domina.
Yes, thank you. Domina, I want to check on her. And if she is well, cheers and celebrations. If she is not, I can cast Regenerate.
Which you will probably have to do. Because her spinal cord was severed.
Yeah.
And although she's been taken care of because you guys brought her to a local temple, she is bound to a wheelchair. Now, speaking to her, in a weird way, she seems to have found herself in a place of not literal power, but I want to say almost empowerment, where she has made not peace with what happened to her, because it was incredibly unfair and unjust, but she's taken what's happened to her in stride and is using it to try and do some good where she can. But if you offer her a chance to walk again,
Oh yeah. Like in the guise of Samuel Renworth, Sam literally says that he owes her a dance, and that happens.
you dance.
Yes. And we'll also check in like at what was the name of that high class establishment?
What, the red flower?
No, that was the low class one.
Okay.
But pop in there then. Next last stop is checking in at the City of Beasts. Perhaps with the Nerian, perhaps not. With anyone who wants to come. And how Enzo and Nicola are doing.
I will tell you about that later,
Tremendous.
because that is more than a one-sentence answer.
Delightful.
Blue blood.
The City of Beasts had the Chaos Temple in it, right? Then Reaver would be with you.
Tremendous. Once this whistle stop tour is completed, Sam spends the next few years, I think, at the in Thule, studying magic with the Kaniga and Roni, and learning Dragon Lore with Seathinth. And then, after the reunion meal, with the possible exception of Reva, no one sees Sam in the flesh again and recognizes her.
Okay.
Oh.
But she stays in contact via dream frustratingly regularly.
And at the most inappropriate times, often.
Often deliberately, yes.
When we're all taking baths.
You say that anytime a stranger comes up to me and starts chanting, I will cast True Seeing.
That's
You will be like,
the best
inside.
sight.
Are you Sam?
Yeah.
The best sight. It becomes like some sort of weird greeting in Thule. Are you Sam?
As a
We are
note,
all Sam on this blessed day.
Yes.
as a note, my last Eldritch Invocation was Witch Sight.
Oh.
Nice.
And yet, occasionally, it's tempting to go, are you Sam?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Especially to Finn. Longer still, Sam's intentions is to essentially gather, I suppose you could call it a bit of a horde of just a word of experiences written, or if you can figure out a way to like pensive memory into some sort of like relivable form, that and establish like just connections with all the different lore bards around the world that she bumps into or sponsors or whatever. Like, because her goal, if Tatiana can put on a summer dress and become a god, then in theory, probably, that someone else, that people can take off that mantle of power. And that is the avenue she is following to see if she can try and save Lara. Okay. Or any of the other cursed immortals, because we met 2 now. It might be a thing. So that's what she's looking for, is the secret to mortality.
Okay.
To mortal. Wow.
Yeah.
After some...
And she does it in, like, kind of secret, because she's the last changeling that she knows of.
After some comparatively frivolous, almost, visits, your own chosen form is returned to you within roughly 2 weeks of when it was taken.
So 2 weeks of being whoever she wanted to be for Madame Walker.
It's fine.
In the distance, sirens.
You visit your old spots however you wish to appear.
Yep.
You have that meal with your friends.
Hmm.
And then who knows where this secret research will bring you.
I do keep in touch with Weaver.
Oh, fuck you too.
But like, I keep in touch with all of you. But like, we're like,
They'll keep in touch with me for longer.
Oh, yeah, because
you're all going to die, possibly. Exactly.
Well, the one thing you never lose, Sam, is after your form was taken from me, the feeling of age. And a realization that you're not going to live forever.
Damn it.
And that is probably when you have that when the denial is gone and the realization settles in. Damn it.
Yeah.
But with the changing of forms comes a strange blissful ignorance, because there's no sense of the age of the body.
Because I'm in a different one for now.
Exactly. So who knows when that moment will come.
Yeah. He does.
At some point.
At some point.
Cool. Who goes first? That's the question. That's me.
Tom, don't go any further. Tom, don't say anything.
Say nothing.
Everyone else chat.
Yes.
Finn would definitely publish his journal, by the way.
I try and get the original.
And I wanted to be
That's stealing.
Try.
And I want it to be with just a black cover of white writing and it just says Finn. No, maybe. That's what his one will look like. His office
Dr. Jameson.
The last page just has to say Finn, Finn, with a dot at the end.
Yes! Oh. That's exact. See, this is why he's my book manager. So
proofreader.
Yes. Oh my god. No.
There's 2 NPCs that I forgot to mention.
You're not all gonna get a chance to go back and stay there. I don't want to keep doing it like, oh, by the way.
No. This is more just for us.
Okay.
For Lysander, Reaver was going to look into Hildra to see where she ended up. And the other one was going back to the person that set him on the course of maybe this is okay, the innkeeper.
Hello.
Yeah. Right back at the starting session.
In Astrakani.
Yeah.
What was your friend called? The fucking magnificent Devon. Yeah. Devon.
Oh, darling.
Yeah. We'd have run-ins with Devon during the whole pirate campaign of whatever happens because it's like rife with Thieves Guild members there.
Oh. Nice.
Wow.
Right.
Which I'm still a member of.
As we
Still nothing but life.
leave Sam in a mystery of the future.
That's how she wanted to go.
A Ridrian Farstrider.
Heredrian was originally intending to hang around a lot longer in Thule. But at the end of the last battle, having gained some new insight into his Fey magic, realized that he had finally cracked the secret to planar travel under his own steam. A couple of nights after everything settles down, he waits until everyone else has gone to bed, goes to his room, and quietly plane shifts back to the Feywild. He finds it too easy to slip into the old ways of life, the old routine, and it feels like wearing your favourite jumper all over again. Days go by, turn into weeks, turn into months. But after a while he realises that jumper doesn't fit as well as it used to. And he misses the friendships and the bonds and everything that he made back on the material plane. And in perfect dramatic style, after a year and a day, he returns back to what he realizes now is his home in Thule. And he knows that there's always going to be a part of him that belongs to the Feywild. And to that end, he wants to take up the role that he's been speaking about, starting jokingly, but now a bit more seriously, and open up trade and relationships between Orion and the Feywild, like they used to be. He would also like to help, probably alongside Finn, in helping to teach people about the more colourful side of magic in Orion. I mean, he's going to need him because they're only going to get boring lessons about good magic and healing and all that. None of the exciting, clever, fancy, showy stuff that...
Night school has inflict wounds, alright? That's where the dope shit is.
And that's pretty much where his goal is going to be. He's obviously going to keep Thule as his true home, because that is kind of where he sees our kind of hub as being. Yeah, that's...
You get a favour that you owed is end one day, as Yusri asks you if you could pay it for him, and asks for an introduction to the material plane from you.
I'll definitely be able to provide that.
Okay. So Eridrian First Rider takes on the mantle of ambassador for the Feywild.
Yep.
Opening up relationships to a realm that was closed for a very, very long time from the world. Okay. Demirian.
I'm going to become an autocratic ruler of the entire world with Greki as my wolfhound. No.
I, for one, welcome our new...
Lord and Saviour.
That's where we get the bad endings.
It's like Daenerys,
You all fool. I'm the evil one all along.
Daenerys like, I am the Lord, and Greg is like, silence.
So Daenerys is going to visit his parents in Orion, assuming Daenerys' dad returns to his wife.
Doing this, if any one of the party watches.
Is this going to be awkward? No.
Oh,
Cast invisibility.
Like the
it's
flowers,
an awkward start. Denarian's father, having suddenly lost his power and his magic, finds himself to be.
You did it me, it's okay.
It can't get any worse.
Suddenly and almost quite insecure and out of place and confronting Niana, because that's almost how he seems to feel about it, is a scary thing. But as the awkwardness passes, Niana finds herself in a somewhat similar boat, as she has these newfound powers that she doesn't really know what to do with, and their relationship differs greatly from the whimsical one that they had when they just met. But instead, they find a great strength in each other now. They visit Cyan together, and both of them realize it's not for them, and choose to return to the secluded forest village, and they do so together.
That's cute. Amazing. So while I'm at Orion, I'll also check in on the City of Beasts. And I'd also like to trade my newly discovered tea varieties that I'll collected from around the world and trade them on there. And check in on the City of Beasts.
Okay. As I said to Sam, the City of Beasts warrants more than a one or two sentence answer.
But stuff there. So after visiting his parents in Orion, Denarian decides that he has seen his fair share of the world, sacrificed and almost lost too many things. But most importantly, he's learned the consequences of our choices. So he intends to return to Fool and live out the rest of his life in Kathmandu, which is to the northeast of Fool, a lakeside location. So he wants to build a cabin and by the lake with Gina and his new family, watching over the island's nature balance as rangers with his family Gina. And Greki will join a wolf pack and be free to roam Fool with his own wolf family.
As you settle with Gina, for her it's an easy transition. This is something she already did for her occupation. Live out in nature and make sure that things go well. You one day watch over the lake. When you hear, you bring it! It smells funny, you bring it! And a small group of pixies appear next to you. Yes. 4 of them appear to be carrying one singular stick. 2 of them carry a small bag that holds tea in it. Smells funny. Not bad, but it does smell funny. And through a chorus of voices and chatter, where eventually they go, you tell him, no, you tell him, I'm gonna tell him, no, you tell him, I said it first. They tell you that as a token of their gratitude, which they owed you, they have made a small commemorative statue of you in their home. The moment they have conveyed this message, as quickly as they appeared, they flit off again. And as you sit there going, you swear you hear them talk about soup.
Soup.
Soup. Grecki. Lives with the wolf pack.
Walker's dead.
But after all seasons have passed once, returns to you. And no matter what you tell him, even if you use your beast speak, he will growl at you at the suggestion of leaving. He will tell you that you are the heart of the pack, and that his place is always by your side. That being said, as the blossom sits on the trees one spring, not too long after he's returned, a pack of wolves start moving in the area near you. And it takes some work because they didn't naturally live there, and you and Gina have to somewhat adapt the nature to fit them. There is one other wolf in that pack. He has 4 small cubs looking after them.
Baby Grickles.
And they all seem naturally friendly towards you. They come by often, their mother watching over them from a distance, knowing that humans are not dangerous here because humans don't harm animals if they can avoid it. But also knowing that it's probably best to stay safe. But the 4 cubs come over regularly and absolutely tear the place apart. Furniture all gone. If you have part of that cottage that's not structurally sound, it's collapsing. Ransack it.
Didn't even build it, so.
No.
That's why I'm saying it. There is wolf hair everywhere every time they come by. But there's also the laughter of Gina every time they do.
Aww.
Grecki grows into a very large wolf. His lifespan is extended unnaturally by the magic that links the two of you.
Beautiful.
And even when his fur turns grey, he makes a formidable figure.
I'm sure Viva will be one to visit him eventually.
Every time Raver comes by, no matter the age, no matter how long it takes him to get up eventually, he runs over and waits for you to throw a stick.
It's almost the enchanted packed weapon stick.
Wait, for a second I thought that you threw the unmaker.
I
was like,
the rod of round.
Yeah, but it's the plus one throwing stick.
That's basically the calamity afterwards. Grecki picks it up and just unmakes everything.
I'm glad you put so much time into your maps. It took me a while to find where I wanted to live. I'm like, that lake up top northeast, Kathmandu.
Amazing.
That's the one.
I love how you
Did it have a lake?
escaped the country and Thule.
Did it have a lake? Was it
Predominantly
the
country.
Yep.
I've went to the countryside.
It's a similar looking lake to the one I grew up in.
With that,
Don't say it.
this group of people have not just affected one another, they've also left a great mark on the world around them. And I don't usually do this, but I'm going to monologue for a little while. If you have any questions, please leave them for next time. some are maybe meant to remain a mystery forever.
Whoa.
But before we turn to anywhere, we turn to a known figure. After saving the small brass dragon, Akir is a small critter on top of Ket's. His tropical bird of paradise flies south. Not prepared for the anti-magic field, he initially has some trouble arriving in Orion while in wild shape. Having occasionally spoken to him via sending and dream spell, you know that he somehow made it. But he made it even further south. He lands in Farsala initially, the northeastern port town of Orion, and from there he travels onwards. And if you had visited Nargrund, then you may have heard of a darker coloured tabaxi. But he continued onwards. He went through the hot desert climate, uncovering some of the secrets that were under the sands there. And somehow he made it further than Orion even past the burning dunes onto new shores. And the exact details of the footprints that he left in those sands might remain a mystery. But where he walked, he did not walk alone. His footprints joined by similarly clawed ones. And eventually other humanoid ones as well. The one thing that's certain is that Eskaye never saw him again.
Oof.
And with that, let's return to where it all began. For reference, I'm going to put some maps on
Concept
the table
art!
By the
for
way,
you.
but here's one thing. How could they have seen Akir if he always left no witnesses?
Let's see.
Some things are meant to be witnessed.
Witness me.
Oh my god.
Who we have? There we go.
Wow. Oh my
We
god.
return to Astrakani, the capital city where it all began.
Yeah.
In Astrakani reigns King Ansel.
Oh, that guy.
That dick.
Having had the book in his possession and it's suddenly taken from him, he is rumoured to slowly go insane.
Oops.
Even the council who would advise him seems to be unable to hold a steady rein. Valdis Ashburn, that guy, the advisor who initially hired the beginnings of the party, seems to hold it together the longest. But eventually there's rumours that he too starts losing it, overcome by fits of rage. Much further north of the city, past Beston and Brown, past Burn where Reaver hails from, lie the Dead Plains. When you left Padina, rumours reached some of you about something stirring up north. The bandits and outcasts that live in the Dead Plains venture further south, more so than they ever did before. At this point, those who live there and who can afford it, for example your parents, move further south, and they are able to afford themselves a luxurious coastal home in Zeewind, where even in his old age, your father's skills are still appreciated. But in the north it starts with small raids. The bandits don't leave. They stay as if something's driving them away from the north. And with the kingdom having no proper rule, over time it lacks the unity to defend itself properly, and it seems doomed to fall. Only the woods in the very south remain untouched by the troubles of the outer world. Traveling slightly to the north and over the never properly mapped mountain range of Padina lies Valtak, the continent that you never entirely mapped out. Without the God King's reign of terror and manipulation, slowly but surely the animosity between cities disappears. They pulled so many strings that the power vacuum left behind is felt across the entire continent. And it knows a long time of turmoil and unrest, with various leading establishments rising and falling over time. Abeltoft is the one bastion of stability in all of it. Jared slowly but surely takes over what remains of the council, and he rules with an iron fist. There are stories of assassins coming for him regularly, of many safe houses between which he has to move. Yet, he remains ruling. There's also stories of him having a softer side, of a younger man who sits by his side, and in some stories it's an advisor, in some stories a friend, in some stories even a lover. And despite, or maybe because, of his stern rule, the city knows a peace that it hasn't known for a long time. And thanks to Sam, an annual storytelling contest. A moment of joy in a country that has been ruled by hardship. Further to the south of Eagletop lies the city of Crimsfold. And there still sits a mysterious closed door. Moving west on the map, before we reach Askaya, we briefly stop in the wide ocean that lies between continents.
That fish.
Nero goes down in history as the one who re-established trade, finding a way around the obstacles that you initially all faced together when you traveled to Askaya in full.
A champ.
Trade is still rare and considered exotic, and although the travel is definitely not without risk, it's possible.
With enough oranges.
With enough oranges.
Fresh rations.
Others start to follow in his wake, using maps and sea routes drawn up by Captain Nero.
Nice.
Where's our royalties?
We are this world.
We saved the world.
Like they treat us as royalty. Why are you rubbing your shoulder?
I don't know. He started doing that now. It's just a cool spot.
Phantom arrow.
It feels quite nice on my Rosic, I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe I.
We've been linked by telepathic bond too long. Started bleeding into one another.
So, to the west lies Askaya, which, with no Akir to return you there, you never really returned to. But it being opened up to the wider world by Nero, the Tabaxi are also brought into the open more. And especially Orion, which is already a fan of exotic goods and luxury, is interested in what they specifically have to offer. Slowly but surely, the Lana wool that they prize themselves for is no longer the most valuable cloth that's found on that continent.
This is your fault.
We broke the cashmere market.
I didn't.
Yet despite the trade, the more central parts of that continent still remain undiscovered to many in the world that you know, and a map of that place is hardly found. Similarly unmapped is the rougher northern parts there, where there lies a swampy jungle where rare flowers grow and mysterious beasts roam, where nature has been touched by something else, but it's only disturbed occasionally by furry clawed feet. We follow Nero's route further north and we find ourselves looking at Thule. Unlike the Tabaxi, they are hesitant in their acceptance of the sudden introduction to the world, and although the trade isn't unwelcome, it's also seen as a little bit of not a threat per se, but initially almost as a little bit of an invasion into their previously existing peace and their somewhat more selfless way of life. The island being so suddenly introduced to violence has left a deep mark on it. Ceothin takes a step back to take care for her young drake Ilras, and in an uncharacteristically humble moment, she admits that she's fallen short. And although she's still available to the Kaniga and her council for advice, she initially no longer concerns herself with the matters of state as much. Yet as Ilras grows in age and trade starts to trickle in through various routes into the island, she starts flying out again, patrolling the coastlines. No ship reaches this island without first having been seen and inspected by the dragon. No one appears in a circle without her flying by. And not many, but a few are turned away. And not all of the ships that are fast enough. What happened in Thule also changed the Kaniga. Although she is still kind and patient, and a woman who puts her people before anything else, the dark shadows under her eyes never entirely disappear. She often seems worn and tired, almost haunted. And by the time that she has a granddaughter old enough to take up her mantle, she seems glad to pass it on. The monks in the monastery divide themselves into two schools. Although they are still united by the same goal, some of them focus more on the spiritual aspect, like they already did. They listen and they watch, and they now constantly stand vigil over the small temple that they use to observe chaos, watching its every movement. But the other school starts to train more in combat. Having seen battle, they no longer just train various poses, they also learn to maim and to harm. And they find no love in it, and it goes against a lot of the nature of what these people have been taught. But they take the lessons of history to heart, and they vow to be ready for anything. And those of you who remain resident there, or who return to Thule, you never want for anything. In Thule, you are honored as legends. Whatever resources you desire, whatever you wish for, it's there available for you. Despite the shock that the country went through, it remains a welcoming safe haven, away from much of the troubles of the rest of the wider world. Roni also decides to continue living in Thule.
Yeah.
And he too becomes a bit of a hermit over time. Because despite the welcoming and kind nature of the people, he cannot entirely shake off the feeling of being haunted. One day he packs his stuff and he moves into a small cottage further into the wild, untouched, beautiful countryside. He is regularly visited by forest walkers there, and he offers them a place to stay in exchange for supply runs. And as he eventually learns to deal with the demons and nightmares of his past in a quiet place, he never really becomes a social butterfly, but he does find a peace in the soul, and he develops himself into an inventor of very interesting magics and contraptions, who could be convinced to occasionally receive knacks for a drink. Moving away from Thule, we follow Nero's straight route to Orion. Other than Thule, maybe the most affected of all.
What?
Some of the elves of Daenerys village, those who originally descended from the elves of Cyan, settle there again. And there is an initial conflict with Enzo and the bandit that Enzo moved in with.
Yeah.
Nicola.
Since it was the most hot-headed of the village who decided to travel there,
Oh no.
conflict was bound to happen. But under the stern command of Faldrian, no blood is ever spilled. That being said, for a long time there is no love lost between those two parties. It is only when Enzo shows his value to the elves by helping them create a small model reconstruction of the old city that people warm up a little. And with this small defrosting, it opens up a route for further relationships. They come to an agreement where the elves accept Enzo's weird fascination with cataloging and research, but he has to come to accept that cities are meant to be lived in. And although it started off frosty, it turns into a fruitful endeavor for both parties as they slowly come to realize that the knowledge each party maybe has to offer. There's only one part in the city center that never becomes lived in. Even nature seems to abhor it. And a thorn garden is built around it. A small, dense patch of beauty that keeps that tainted place at bay. It never seems to spread. And nothing ever comes out of it. But they also deter others from walking in. And although it's early stages, the city has the potential to become a great elven metropolis and center of elvish culture, especially when they become the main city of contact for the Fae. They do become a hub for culture. Buildings are rebuilt, and whatever skills the elves of old had there, unfortunately those are lost to time, as no one is able to entirely recreate any of the old architecture. Yet the current folk who live there bring new touches to the city, and they rebuild new, strange and wonderful forms there. And slowly but surely not just flora, but also fauna returns to the city. And it might not be this idyllic historical city where elves and beasts live together in homes and harmony, but it definitely seems to be becoming, or at least has the potential to become, the next best thing. With Daenerys' parents leaving Cyan, it signifies a separation in the clan. Some follow the initial group to the City of Beasts, and some stay behind in the woods. That village almost becoming even more secluded and removed from the rest of the world than it already was. Your father often looks up at the sky and the stars, wondering about what he gave up, what he has lost, how other places and planes are. But despite this wonder, he never seems to regret his decision. And when he holds Nienna in his big arms, they almost seem to create a small space of their own, as if they fade from the reality of this world and go entirely to a place that's theirs. Despite the return of magic, no major catastrophes hit Orion. Those who do have an affinity for magic have to start from scratch, like everyone else. But the ruling of the continent changes drastically after the first misuse of magic.
It was me.
Guilds and schools of magic spring up both to control it as well as to learn and teach it, and especially with the help of those more experienced, let's say. It's quickly becoming a product of trade. Magic is explored here with the look of complete beginners, and on the one hand, the continent's lacking behind terribly. But on the other hand, this brand new perspective on magic also gives way to new inventions. Mages of all types, schools and levels visit to trade knowledge and to exchange perspectives. Who knows what this continent might yet bring into the world. One other thing that you have let people rediscover is planar travel. There are several points where the material plane brushes the inner and the outer planes. One of these points was being restored by the God King, but they never finished that job. One of them was on Orion, which is why a portal was placed there. And with the removal of the anti-magic field, this point is now active again.
Hooray!
Baby steps are taken in the study of it, but where the barriers between planes are thin, and where those have direct knowledge travel across, there's a possibility now. Easiest place to travel through, though, becomes the portal to Semina Calicoy and Orion. True to our word, Tatiana and the Sealy Cord return for the corpses there. And when needed and truly driven to it, the cords can work together. For once, with Eridrian as emissary, whatever remains of the aberrations around this ruined town are driven out. And after that, there's a little bit of a power struggle. It never quite comes to blows, but there's a large settlement of either court on either side of the town. And the still may last for some time. There is games of intrigue, maybe a poison or two.
My home away from home.
In the end, the Sealy Court ends up with one great advantage. They have someone intimately familiar with the material plane, who also has strings to pull on the other side. And in this form of warfare, that is the greatest power to have. The town remains a little odd, having been touched by aberrant magic for so long. But over time, and with some help, it once again returns to being a thriving trading hub. At first, it's awkward. There's a big culture clash between elves who previously lived secluded in a small forest village and a world full of political intrigue.
Oh god.
But with some of the correct and gentle guidance, Semina Calicoy becomes a fusion of Elven and Eladrin culture. A small piece of the Fey realm touched by other planes, and a place where the occasional mortal might walk in on purpose and return with wild stories. And when I say on purpose, that is because with the slight weakening of these barriers, and with planar travel slowly but surely becoming something that's being researched, other stories and myths also start to come to the region. One day Enzo tells you a tale of how he saw you travelling through town ages ago, and he's confused as to why you never stopped for a chat. And to those with a keen ear, after that, new stories start popping up of a woman with a cart on wheels, tales of bargains, of a home with chicken legs, and of the occasional children missing in the night. But also tales of wild feasts and celebrations, of people walking into a circle of mushrooms and having no memory of what happened, returning to a world that has moved on without them. Bards start to learn songs about herbs, sage, rosemary and thyme, and the dangers and allures, bless you, of Eladrin lovers. Slightly further away from the material plane, the Frostfell offers a solitary existence initially, but over time, and it does take some time, the people are come to realize that Nax, although very intimidating, is not a murderer, as far as I know. New Rhymeville slowly moves back into the valley again. Now that there's no fear of constant sacrifice, the people move back into the relative cover that the valley offers, and surprisingly,
The old one. Yeah.
despite the weather, with Nax's help, the village thrives. It's not an easy existence for these people by far, but they are hardy and they are used to much, much worse than a little bit of bad weather. Without being held hostage by constant terror, people start to focus on living, maybe going a little overboard at times. And especially when they are being introduced to different cultures and people that do not live in constant cold. There's almost a sense of exuberance and joy that comes to the place. And much further across the plain still, Ayun still sits in her chair looking through her telescope. But back in the material plane, the worship of the goddess of knowledge now includes strawberry wine. With Finn returning to Barataria for some time, he settles the dark cloud that came over Grace's heart. And maybe unbeknownst to him, stopped her from going down a very, very dark path. Instead, she becomes very stern in her older age, a fearsome ruler who occasionally goes out, something she hasn't done for a long time. And with that, that ends the story of this group of strangers who all met by arbitrary chance. A group that had no ties, not even a common goal when they all met, yet a group who ended up making a very big impact on quite a significant part of the world and the plains beyond it. On a small island, this group will be remembered as heroes and as legends, and although some of you went your separate ways to live in a small cottage, to travel between Orion, Full and the Fae, to find research unknown to most, to connect the Frostfell to the rest of the world, to sail, to check up, because despite yourself, you have to make sure that people are all right, and then eventually back to Thule, where you settle. Some of you long-lived, and some at the end of their times maybe meeting and reuniting again. As old and close friends, there are certain bonds, certain threads of fate that come to connect individuals that remain regardless of place and time. Because every individual has unlimited potential, a chance to change the course of history, to leave footprints on the world that do not fade easily over time. Whatever happens in the futures of these heroes, only time will tell. Will Sam find whatever the secret is to mortality, or will time catch up to them before then? Will it be Reaver who greets Finn at the end? Regardless, as these legends and the deep footprints that they have left slowly become a part of history, we end our almost 7-year-long tale. Thank you guys.
Campaign 2 though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well done, Martha. It's beautiful.
Fuck.